Spring training is here, March Madness is right around the corner, and this is Lions Lineup. Hello everybody and welcome to Lions Lineup, the sports show here at LTV that brings you sports news, analysis, and fun on the national level. I'm Joe Caputo, joined here today by Chris Malicki and Mike Joswick. And Mike will talk about our first topic today, which happens to be baseball. Mike?
With pitchers and catchers reported on Tuesday, the New York Yankees camp once again is filled with drama. The Yankees have some problems to address. Their aging core, who's behind the plate, and of course, Alex Rodriguez, just to name a few. However, let's not confuse them for the Houston Astros just yet. They are a good team with good players, like Robinson Cano, CC Sabathia, and Mark Teixeira. But is that enough for the Yankees to still be one of the elite teams in the American League? Guys?
Well, as a Yankee fan, I have to say that of all the years of watching the Yankees and getting prepared for the regular season, this has been the year that I've been most nervous about their upcoming season. They have a couple players, key players, like Derek Jeter here shown with Elmo, that's coming off a broken ankle. They have, obviously, Mariano Rivera coming off torn ACL. But the one strength the Yankees do have is their pitching staff. I love the way they put together their pitching staff. They have a few guys that you don't even know if they're going to come back, but they don't necessarily need them. Michael Pineda is an X factor right now, which if he comes back, he's going to solidify a pretty good starting rotation. I just don't know what to make about the Yankees starting lineup this year. You guys have any input?
It's just,
as a Red Sox fan, Chris.
I am a Red Sox fan. I am fully aware that the Red Sox are going to finish in the basement of the AL East. But
okay.
I think you have to look at what's most important is that the long ball for the Yankees and the way it worked last year. Obviously, they lost Raul Ibanez, and obviously the whole A-Rod thing going on that he was too much of a factor. But I think you have to look at the way that worked in the series against the Orioles and how it didn't happen for them. And then against the Tigers, where they just completely were shut down. And it just leads me to believe that the way this team is downgraded, that I can't imagine them really being competitive even in their own division.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, can we really say that they downgraded too much? I mean, they lost Russell Martin, which
they didn't.
I was never
see, the thing is, they didn't downgrade.
Not downgrade,
but the problem that I had with what the Yankees have done in this offseason is they didn't upgrade at all. So you lost Russell Martin. You're going to be starting Francisco Cervelli at catcher.
Was Russell Martin really that good last year to begin with?
Well, he hit 25 home runs.
I mean, I guess.
He knocked in runs.
He batted near 200.
But he was one of their better hitters in the postseason, which, I mean, that wasn't a huge accomplishment considering half their players hit under 200. But I'm just saying, you know, you lost Russell Martin, you lost Raul Ibanez, who was their best hitter in the postseason. I just feel like when you go in, even if they have a good year, let's say they get a wild card spot, what are they going to do in the postseason this year? I mean, are they going to post a similar performance to what they did last year, or are some of their players actually going to step up? I'm waiting for someone to step up. Robinson Cano is in his prime. He should be performing to the best of his ability, not disappearing in October.
Well, I think Cano is a great hitter. I think last postseason, I think it was a fluke for him. He's like one of the best hitters in baseball right now. Probably the best second baseman in baseball right now. Like you said, yeah, the guys do have to step up, but the core is still there. I mean, this is a team that still won 95 games last year with the core that they have. Derek Jeter, Robinson Cano, Curtis Granderson, we haven't mentioned yet. He's going to knock over 40 home runs. I mean, they still got a lot of great players.
Well, yeah,
it really just depends on how they perform. I think you guys are both right with Robinson Cano, and he is one of the better hitters in the league, and I think that he's the key, as is Jeter's recovering from injury is the key. But, you know, like you said, they do have the talent. They have Granderson, they have Teixeira, and it really is just a matter of whether those guys can start hitting. And last year, it just became a problem, especially in the playoffs.
The main problem that these guys have is I mean, their age is obviously one of them. They're all getting a year older, and they have multiple guys that are over 30 years old. But the problem that they face in the postseason that you don't necessarily realize until you get to that postseason is that you need a hit within key situations in the postseason. You're not going to get hit 3 home runs a game come playoff time. You could get through the regular season feasting on bad pitching of what was the Blue Jays and the Orioles last year, who are actually good now this year, and the Red Sox. But you can't do that in the playoffs when you're facing top-flight pitching like Justin Verlander. You're facing, the Angels rotation, which is lethal now. And it just, to me, you can't go about a postseason with guys that really can only hit home runs, especially when they are hitting home runs, they're all solo home runs. That's what they were doing last year. They were going 8 innings at a time, scoring 1 run, and expecting in the 9th to be able to hit a home run and tie a game. And that's not how you win games in the postseason.
I mean, to be fair, we're talking about the postseason right now. I know with the Yankees, you have to talk about the postseason, but That's still months away
It
right
is.
now. Like,
I
we're barely
agree
into
with
spring
that.
training. Let's talk about the regular season. I think the Yankees will be just fine. They're gonna find a way to score runs. Believe it or not, I think Euclid is a huge upgrade over Alex Rodriguez, excuse me, which says a lot about how far he's fallen,
Yeah.
from stardom. I think they'll be fine. CeCe Sabathia, he's still an ace. He's the ace of that staff. Hideki Kuroda, I mean, he was the best pitcher on the Yankees last year,
Yeah.
for God's sakes. I mean, I think Andy Pettitte will bounce back fine, and I think they'll be good.
Yeah, I think one promising part of their team is definitely their rotation this year, which should really be a major advantage, even if their lineup isn't performing game in and game out. We need to take a quick break, but before we go, we have a quick trivia question for you. Who's the only Yankee to hit 4 home runs in a single game? The answer in a moment, right after this break. Welcome back. Before the break, we asked you who the only Yankee to hit 4 home runs in a single game was, and the answer is Lou Gehrig in 1932 against the Philadelphia A's. Now, Chris will talk to you about the wacky college basketball season that will culminate next March.
Madness is in full swing in college basketball, and it isn't even March yet. The phrase, on any given night, has never been more true, as it seems like any team can beat another, no matter the differential in talent. Ranked teams are falling left and right, and it's nearly impossible to predict what will happen next, let alone in the NCAA tournament. With the parity that has developed in college basketball this season, one may think that more sleeper teams may emerge in the big dance and have deep runs. Then again, the process of picking which Cinderellas could find their glass slippers come March has become more difficult than ever.
Well, I just think that the idea of picking sleepers in the NCAA tournament, once the bracket comes out, is what keeps people up at night, because you know they're going to happen. You just don't know which ones to ever pick. And it just seems like whatever one you do end up picking,
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah,
and it kills you after the first weekend. So who is your sleeper team, or who are multiple sleeper teams? Who do you like this year?
There's just
many of them.
too many, because of the fact that there's so much parity in the league, and there's just so many teams that really could, go on one of those deep runs. I want to talk about the Colorado State Rams first. They're a team out of the Mountain West who are a lot better this year, might get more than half the conference bids in the tournament. But Colorado State is the best rebounding team in the country, and they were recently ranked, and it's about time that they were nationally ranked. But they have 2 players in Colton Iverson and Pierce Horning who are just legit studs on the glass. And as you know, rebounding really means a lot in the college game. Rebounding,
Especially
offensive rebounding, which they're top 10 in too. And they're just one of those teams that can really control the game with their ability on the glass.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the VCU Rams, who made obviously the historic run a couple of years ago to make the Final Four, beating Kansas along the way, who was the #1 overall seed. But the VCU Rams just know how to win. They're top in the nation, one of the top teams in the nation in steals to turnover ratio, which when you're taking the ball away and not giving it up, that is a recipe for success. And the Rams obviously have one of the best coaches in college basketball in Shaka Smart. And, you look at teams that you want to make runs in the NCAA tournament, you like to have experience not only from the players but from the coaching line. And I love the VCU Rams this year.
Well, you guys know a little more than I do, but if I had to pick one team to be a sleeper team, I have to go with Butler, just because they always seem to find something in March that makes them special, and they always seem to go on that little run that makes us believe in them. I mean, they got some talented players in Butler, so I mean, I think if I had to pick one, I think they would be it, because like I said, there's just some magic in March they seem to find.
Butler's definitely a highly regarded team going into the tournament, and
I just want to say on your VCU pick, I think that your whole VCU knows how to win. I don't think you're right anymore.
Why do you say that,
Okay,
Chris?
as you know,
what makes you know more than America in picking college basketball?
It's not just America. The VCU Rams, obviously, they're a very good team. Historically, they're a very good team, and they're a good team this year. They hang their hats on their defense, but the thing that bothered me is that when they played a couple weeks ago, and they played a game against Richmond and then a game against LaSalle, both in the same week, and they just faltered down the stretch and could not get it done. And it just seemed like in those games, they found a way to lose to inferior competition. And it doesn't seem like they have that magic anymore.
Well, here's my counter argument to that. College basketball, as long as you make the tournament, the regular season means absolutely nothing.
That is true.
And that is what I base everything on come tournament time, it really just comes down to who's going to win in March. Because you look at teams in the past that have made Final Four runs, they've looked awful in November, December, January, but they run through their conference tournaments. Louisville last year, West Virginia, we were talking about it 3 years ago.
Yeah.
They just make deep runs in their conference tournaments. They gel at the end of the year, and I think that this VCU team has an ability to do so. Another team I want to point out is a very extremely talented team that's underachieving this year, NC State Wolfpack. Led by Lorenzo Brown. Richard Howell is an absolute animal. You were talking about guys that you love on the glass. The guy's averaging a double-double this year. This is a team that made a Sweet 16 run last year as an 11 seed. They're probably going to be somewhere around that because they're underachieving this year. Maybe they'll get a little bit of a higher ranking, but I really do like the experience of NC State and the talent of NC State to really make another deep run into this year's tournament.
Yeah, I'm just not sold on them just yet. I did really like them at the beginning of the season, and just the way that they have just underperformed and just played down to the competition is just not impressive. But as you said, they have so much talent with Hallow, Brown, C.J. Leslie, and then even T.J. Warren coming off the bench. And they do seem like that kind of team that can just turn it on at the end of the year and really just make a deep run.
Well, yeah. Once again, playing down to competition, though, I don't think matters come tournament time. And that's a key that I want everyone to realize is that you're not playing down to any sort of competition once you get to the NCAA tournament. I mean,
everyone raises their level of competition.
Exactly.
Absolutely,
That it's one and done. So if you lose a game, you're going home. You're going to obviously play your best basketball come tournament time. And I think a team like NC State that needs to play their best basketball, they will, and they're one of the best teams in the country when they play.
Anything can happen in March. Any team can be the next big team. Like a local team like Butler, they can be Syracuse. They can do anything.
It doesn't even matter come March time. All right, we're going to take another quick break, but we'll be right back to talk a little bit more about college basketball. Stick around. Welcome back. With all the madness going on in college basketball lately, it's been extremely difficult to pick out those teams that you could count on come tournament time. No one wants to lose their champion after the first weekend, so as the brackets are about to be announced in about a month, what are some of the teams that you guys believe we can count on to make deep runs into April? Some of the top teams that you think are upset-proof come March.
I mean, I know it's starting to get cliche. It wasn't cliche a couple weeks ago, but I think the Miami Hurricanes are for real this year. They just pretty much have it all. They have a guy in Shane Larkin who's playing his best basketball right now, not turning the ball over and passing really well. They have Duran Scott, another elite scorer. They have Kenny Kaji, who's an inside-outside threat. And now they're starting to get Reggie Johnson back, and they're starting to really get everybody in the mix. And it's just showing how, the fact that they have yet to lose a game in ACC play, that they're for real.
Yeah, Miami's really proven that they can be a team that can make a deep run. I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to pick Duke. Because I think they always seem they're always one of the best teams in the college basketball right now. They have a lot of great players. I think they could make a deep run to the Final Four, honestly. That's what I think.
They are right now on the one line along with Miami and most people, especially Joe Lunardi's bracketology. I'm going to say that Miami's peaking a little bit too early right now. And that's something that I usually look out for, a team that is just so highly regarded now, and everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. That could be bad for a team come March. They're a team that really doesn't have much experience in the NCAA tournament.
They don't have much experience.
Which could be a
that's
problem.
Always key, yeah.
I know they have the talent.
But they have the coach who has the experience.
Okay.
Their head coach, Jim Loranga, did take little George Mason to the Final Four.
And that is
I think he definitely knows how to prepare his guys for the NCAA tournament.
My team that I know has really, really let me down multiple times this season. Right when I thought they were about to get on a roll, they just seem to always let me down. The last instance of this happening was Saturday night in the 5 overtime game against Notre Dame. That's Louisville. And Louisville has been absolutely just up and down, just to me awful all year. It seems like they're always going to take that next step, and they have a bad loss, so they play a bad game, and they just come back down to earth. But I just feel like Louisville has the talent. They have Peyton Siva. They have Russ Smith. They have Gorgie Jang. They have the pieces. They have Luke Hancock who could shoot the 3. They have the pieces. They have the experience. They have the coach. They have everyone. They have the formula to make a run. They made the Final Four last year. Why are they not performing the way they should be right now?
It really is down to one man, and that's Russ Smith. And he's just, as you said before, as Russ goes, the team goes. And I think that if you see the way the stretch that he's been going through over the past few weeks, really, it's just been brutal with the amount of shots he's been taking and the small amount that he's been making, and just the caliber of like the decision-making shots that he's been making in the overtime games. Just
yeah, I feel like with Louisville, it's a team that you can't have one. It's one or the other. It's a team that always pleasantly surprises you or always disappoints you. Like there's no in between with them.
And the problem that Russ Smith has been having, I mean, you watched that 5 overtime game Saturday night. I think Louisville either had a chance to win or the lead in every single one of the overtimes. And each time it just seemed like Russ Smith took a dumber shot. Whether it was the 35-foot three he took at the end of the first overtime or the ill-advised layup leading by 2 with the shot clock turned off in the 4th overtime, it's just, what are you thinking in those situations? And it looked like when he would come to the sideline, Rick Pitino wanted to rip his head off on multiple occasions. And you have a guy like Shane Behanan, who had a career game with 30 points and 15 boards, and you have a guy like Gorgie Jang playing well. Hancock puts up over 20, and then you have Russ Smith and Peyton Siva, who probably played their worst games of the season. So I just feel like this is a team that if they could get all of their stuff together in March, and make another Big East run in the tournament, I think that they could gel at the right time and have the ability to make a Final Four and even a national championship run.
It's really great how you just, the way you introduce your team and the way you just trash talk them the entire way, and yet that is your team.
Because I'm trying to make a point that they have the talent, and the only reason that they're not playing well right now is because of they're dumb. They're a dumb team.
Okay, so you want to put your faith into a player like Russ Smith, who not only is prone to these shooting slumps, but is prone to making these terrible decisions. But you know the reason
why is because they did make the Final Four last year.
They did.
So I mean, they're not inept. They have the ability, and if they made the Final Four last year and they brought back pretty much the same roster
they have
this
the experience.
Year, they have the experience. They have the ability to make that run, and they know that. And Rick Pitino knows that, and Rick Pitino knows how to get the best out of his players. We've been talking about this on our podcast, downloaded on iTunes, Brunch with Chris and Joe.
Not me.
It's just been teams that have coaching. Billy Donovan, Tom Izzo, Rick Pitino. Their coaches know how to get the most out of them in March.
And then what happens when you have a guy like Rick Pitino face a guy like Tom Izzo? Are you going to take Tom Izzo, who not only is getting the most out of his team in March, but as you saw last night, getting the most out of his team in February too? Or are you going to take Pitino, who after countless losses and bad play by Russ Smith still does not have an answer for his team?
Well, they played in the tournament last year. Who won?
That was last year.
Who won?
That was
It was
last
the same team.
That's
Louisville had the
true.
same team. Who won?
And Michigan State had a better team, but
this year's a different year.
Yes, Pitino won, but this year is a different year. Michigan State might be better than they were last year.
They might be a little bit, even though I feel like they had more talent last year, but they might be. But Louisville has all the talent that they need right now.
And you can have all the talent in the world. It depends how you play.
That's
Absolutely.
true.
In one game.
I agree with that. Well, we're about all out of time on this episode of Lions Lineup. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you would like to become a part of Lions Lineup or work for LTV, email our account at ltv@tcnj.edu. For Chris Malicki, Mike Joswick, and all of us here at LTV, I'm Joe Caputo. We will see you next time.